Hi, everyone. Have any of you been bitten by a rattlesnake, or have any of you had an animal bit by a rattlesnake? Last Sunday, I had experienced my Frenchie was bit by a rattlesnake, and it was really traumatic. So, today's video is going to be about rattlesnakes. And obviously, I live in the Mojave, so I know there are rattlesnakes. I guess there are several different species of rattlesnakes here in the Mojave, but there is one that is really dangerous and deadly, and that is the Mojave rattlesnake. And this particular rattlesnake contains a venom that is so deadly, and it can kill you very quickly. So every year I have to vaccinate my Frenchies. I have two Frenchies, a male and a female, and I do have them vaccinated every year for the rattlesnake venom vaccination. But really only that buys them just a few hours. It just gives them time to get to the vet. And because I live so far out in the Mojave that there's no close hospital or veterinarian nearby. So it's about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours away to even get to town. So I'll take you through the events. As you can see behind me, there's video of my little Frenchie, 5 years old. She's about 20 pounds. And she was bit by, I found out later, this really bad, deadly Mojave rattlesnake. So I was in the house at the time. My husband was out in the garage, and my two dogs were outside playing. And I had come out of the bathroom, and I saw my little girl, my little Frenchie, laying on the kitchen floor. And so I called out to her, and she didn't look up. Usually she looks up, and she'll recognize me. And so I called out to her again, and she didn't move. She was lifeless. So I just was like, this is strange. So the closer I got to her, I saw that there was blood like near her mouth. So I went to go pick her up, and she just started vomiting everywhere, just vomiting really badly. And there was a lot of blood. So I had thought originally that maybe she was playing too rough, because sometimes they go outside and they play really rough together. And they scuff each other up a little bit, and they come in with little cuts or whatever, but they're fine. But this wasn't like that. It was a lot of blood. So I kept watching her, and as you can see, the videos have times on them. So at 15 minutes, she looked like this. At 20 minutes, she looked like this. So I kept watching it because I knew there was something wrong. There was a lot of blood, and it was coming from two spots. And so kind of looked to me like it was a snake bite. So that's the first thing I thought. So I got on the internet, and I started, researching what snake bites look like. And it looked to me that she definitely got bit. And so about 40 minutes after that, we decided, okay, let's get her to the hospital. So my husband went on the internet to find the nearest hospital, and the nearest hospital was in Palm Springs, which is about an hour and 45 minutes from where we live. So at that time, it had been 40 minutes, and then I had another hour and 45 minutes to drive to get her to this veterinarian hospital. And it's called VEG Hospital, and they're open 24/7. They're a great, great, great hospital. But again, I didn't know what type of snake bit her. I didn't know how severe and how dangerous and life-threatening, her condition was. So I got her in the car, and I started driving her to the hospital. And as I was driving her to the hospital, she started having trouble breathing. She started aspirating, and she couldn't breathe, and it was really traumatic. It was awful. I was freaking out, crying, and it was really bad. It was not calm at all. And the best thing they say to do is to be calm, but I just couldn't. It was just killing me that I couldn't help her. There was nothing I could do for her. So she was in bad shape, really bad shape. And so I got off the exit as I got closer to the hospital, and I called them. And I said, I'm off the exit, what do I do? Where do I go? And I was crying, and they couldn't understand what I was saying. So I had to calm myself down. And finally they said, yeah, you're about 7 minutes away, and don't worry, we're ready for you. We have everything ready. And they did. As soon as I pulled in, the doors were open. The staff was there waiting for her to treat her. So, like I said, she was in really rough shape. I didn't know the extent of what had bitten her, but after they did the blood work, they said that she was bitten by one of the most deadliest snakes out there, which is the Mojave rattlesnake. So she was in rough shape. So she did receive treatment of the anti-venom IV and the drip. They gave her 2 bags of anti-venom IV. And it took about 6 hours for this venom to go through her system. And this is her after 6 hours, and the IV had ended at that time, and she does look a lot better. She was just so badly, she was just in really rough shape. And they gave her other, antibiotics and pain medication through intravenously, and it was a pretty hefty price. Each bag of venom, anti-venom, is about $1,000. So she had 2 bags of anti-venom IV. And it was very expensive, but I'm glad she did receive the treatment, and she is doing much better. It'll be a week tomorrow. She's like back to normal. So it's like nothing ever happened. So I'm really grateful to this hospital. It's a great hospital, and they have plenty of locations, a lot of locations everywhere. And I'm going to play a video from their website about rattlesnake safety for your dog. They have several different videos on their website for different things that happen to your dog. So let's look at one of the first videos that they have on their website. Let's see if I can get to that video here.
Anytime that an animal experiences a snake bite, whether or not it's a rattlesnake, we should absolutely get them straight to a veterinarian for evaluation, because every hour that we delay in getting that pet treatment, especially anti-venom if it is a rattlesnake bite, can compromise their ability to recover. If your pet has been bitten by a rattlesnake, or you suspect that they have been bitten by a rattlesnake, you can call any of our veterinary emergency group locations and speak with a doctor to find out what you should do on your way into the vet. However, don't delay any time, get right in the car and come into one of our locations, which are open 24/7, and an emergency veterinarian will be happy to evaluate them.
So great veterinarian. The doctor was awesome. The techs there were just like doctors. They were really, really good. The next screen I want to share with you is actually some information about rattlesnakes here in the area where I live. And that is going to be the Joshua Tree area. And let's see if I can get this one showing here. Okay, and I'm going to take myself out of the screen here. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So this talks about the area that I live in. Now, there's rattlesnakes obviously everywhere, but this particular Mojave rattlesnake, the deadliest one, is mainly in this area. So it says it's rattlesnake season in California, and here is what to know to stay safe outdoors. With warm weather and more hours of sunlight, rattlesnakes are out. Rattlesnakes are done hibernating for the winter, and they're becoming more active. So I guess the season, when I was doing research, the season says that rattlesnake season starts in April, and they mate until late June. And then they're out until October, and then they go on hibernation. So that means that at this time, they're active, they're out there a lot. It means that hikers and bikers and people walking their dogs are more likely to run into them, and they definitely are prevalent, because I was telling a coworker about what happened to my dog, and he said he was actually hiking in Temecula, and him and his buddies came upon a rattlesnake, and it was actually right in the trail. It wasn't hiding off to the side or anything. It was in the middle of the trail. And I said, "What did you do?" And he said he said the snake was so big that they just stopped and froze for a second, because they came up close to it. And he said we stopped and we just backed off extremely slow. He did get a picture of it and showed me this picture of the snake, and it was massive. It was a massive snake. So they are everywhere. So I'm naming off a few of the trails that are local here where I live in the Mojave. And this is true on popular trails and in parks such as Joshua Tree, Ryan Mountain Trail, Hidden Valley Trail, Barker Dam Trail, Arch Rock Trail, and many other hiking trails. And the map that you're seeing is of the area where most of these snakes are. So you'll see the Joshua Tree area is the map that I'm showing. Now, rattlesnakes are native to California, obviously, and are found in a variety of areas according to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. There are several different species of rattlesnakes found in the Mojave Desert, but the most common rattlesnake found is the Mojave rattlesnake. The dangers, if bitten by one of these snakes, are extremely serious and potentially life-threatening due to its potential neurotoxic venom. The neurotoxic effects will cause respiratory paralysis, which was happening to my dog as I was driving her to the emergency room, difficulty swallowing, which was also happening to her, muscle weakness, and blurred vision. The hemotoxic effects are tissue destruction, severe swelling and bruising, internal bleeding, and blood clotting issues. Rattlesnakes are not aggressive by nature and usually only bite when they feel threatened or trapped. And seen in the picture below is the most dreaded Mojave rattlesnake and the deadliest of them all. And that's a picture of the rattlesnake that bit my dog. There's some safety tips, which everybody should know. If you are on a marked trail, stay on the trail. Do not wander off the trail. Like I just was saying, my friend was actually on the trail and the snake was on the trail. So scan the ground ahead of you as you walk or ride. And I do this daily now. Before I let my dogs out, I go outside with a huge rake and I scour my property. I happen to have 5 acres. We have 2 acres that are fenced in. So it takes me a little bit of time, but I go out there every morning and I make sure that the ground is safe for them to go out. I don't want anything like that happening to them ever again. And we do have a lot of brush and creosote trees, so my husband went out there and cut them all down, and so that because those snakes hide in those creosote bushes, so we removed all of that off the property. So that does help. And check logs and rocks before sitting down or stepping over them. Keep your dog on a leash if you are on a trail. Make sure your dog is leashed with you. It's safer for you and for the wildlife. And if you do hear a rattling sound, stop and stay calm and slowly back away. If you see a rattlesnake, the best thing you can do is to leave it alone. I guess rattlesnakes usually don't want anything to do with humans and will move on if you give them a chance, according to the wildlife experts. So that is just a little overview of this type of rattlesnake. I'm going to share some other videos of what's going on right now with rattlesnake bites. And here is the next video that I have to share with you. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Okay. So this is actually outside of the front of my house. Let's see if I can start this over one more time. So these are some that we found. There we go. So I opened my door, and this is my husband actually outside. He notices. And there it is. Looks just like the picture that I just showed you guys. It's pretty bad. Sorry. Do that again. So he notices yeah, that's pretty scary. I mean, that's right outside my front door. So we've pretty much cleaned everything up. Not good. There's a tarantula there with him. Yeah, it's not good. We didn't have the dogs at this time. We got the dogs at a later date, but it's not very scary. So I guess there is a lot of rattlesnake bites now with dogs. So I have some other videos to share with you. Actually, this next story is about a canine dog that was bit by a rattlesnake.
A Border Patrol canine is recovering tonight after he was bitten by a rattlesnake. CBP says Boo, the dog, was bitten while working in the Otay Mountain wilderness. His handler called for help and they were taken by helicopter to an emergency animal hospital in La Mesa. They say the dog was given anti-venom and he's currently under observation.
I have another.
CBP is relieved canine Boo is on the road to recovery, but last week they lived some scary moments.
Boo was a detection canine, so he was out there doing his job. He was out there tracking a group that crossed illegally, and he unfortunately got bit by a rattlesnake.
When his handler noticed Boo's behavior was declining, he radioed Air and Marine Operations to airlift him from Otay Mountain Wilderness to an animal hospital in La Mesa.
I just saw a helicopter drop briefly. Guy run out with a dog in his hands, German Shepherd, start running at us. Traffic was halted on north, south, east, and west.
One driver pulled out of the car and captured the moment CBP canine Boo was pulled out from the helicopter and rushed to get care.
The dog was like panting, and so it was kind of sad.
Agent Solano says Boo received the anti-venom treatment and is recovering.
He's recovering, he's stable. Hopefully he'll be with us working soon.
Rattlesnake season is back in
Here's
the valley
another
and
story.
foothills. Fox 26 reporter Rich Rodriguez explains why a pet owner and his dog on a late-night stroll never saw the snake until it was too late.
Brian and his dog Boy were taking a late Monday night walk in the Table Mountain parking lot. Brian never saw the rattlesnake, but the dog did and was bitten in the mouth.
If Boy hadn't have been there and found the snake, it would have got Brian, and it would have been a really, probably a huge, much bigger incident.
They rushed the dog to a Fresno vet, but decided not to have it treated. Kristen Yoakum says the vet wanted $6,000 up front.
Now that was a bold move because the swelling on this poor dog, I don't know if I could have not treated, and I know it's expensive. It was about $6,000 because the anti-venom is so expensive, and I'm going to show you videos of why it is so expensive. But she decided not to treat the dog. I did hear that Benadryl is good, I guess a method of treatment for snake bites, but it depends on what type of snake has bitten your dog. So I don't believe he would have survived if it was bitten by one of the Mojave rattlesnakes with the most deadliest venom, but let's listen in.
Before the procedure could start.
He's just now recovering at home, and we're doing the best we can.
Yoakum says the swelling has come down after giving the dog Benadryl and antibiotics. Fox 26 News reached out to several local vets, but our calls weren't returned. Here's what Companion Pet Clinic of Arizona says about rattlesnake bites to dogs. Because rattlesnake venom contains a mixture of toxins that can spread throughout a dog's body after a bite, consider it a veterinary emergency. Treatment may require anti-venom injections. The injections are also associated with an increased risk of adverse reactions. Other treatments may include intravenous fluids, medicines, surgery, and/or hospitalization. Kristen Yoakum's dog looks a lot better than he did 2 days ago.
He's doing okay. He's eating, he's drinking, he's taking walks.
Yoakum says all she can do is wait it out and hope their year-old dog keeps improving. Rich Rodriguez, Fox 26 News.
So the next video I have is really sad. This poor guy, he looks like he got bit by a really deadly snake too. Very sad.
Okay, we're getting a warning about a spike in rattlesnake bites in dogs. This is Murphy. You'll see him here. He was recently treated by the Arizona Veterinary Emergency Critical Care Center. 12-year-old Chihuahua in his backyard, Gold Canyon, when he was bit by a rattler. Murphy's owner says his face immediately swelled. They rushed him to a care center where he was hospitalized. But if your dog is bitten by a rattlesnake, officials say take them immediately to the vet. Snake bites for dogs can be life-threatening.
So it's definitely a serious thing if your dog has been bitten by a rattlesnake. And again, those are just some of the few stories I found. There were many stories of dogs being bitten right now, and even humans. I have a video here. I'm going to show you that a little girl was bitten and it was serious. So let's check out that video.
Okay, we're getting a warning about a spike in rattlesnake bites in dogs. This is Murphy.
Jennifer, how do you feel? You feel weak? But she's not got a lot of swelling.
This little girl that got bit. Okay, here we go. Let's take this back.
Jennifer, how do you feel? You feel weak?
Let's start that over again. Sorry, guys.
Jennifer, how do you feel? You feel weak? But she's not got a lot of swelling. See the snake? Yeah, that's Mojave. Mojave Green.
See.
Dr. Bush. This is Mojave. You might not see a lot of swelling at all. It's causing more of the neurological symptoms like paralysis. Hey, John. So we want to give her the medicine and to prevent that. Increase particle bit. Yeah. You grow up. Okay. Let's get another 6 vials just ready to go.
Awesome.
I think we're gonna need all of them.
How you doing, honey?
Keep taking nice deep breaths, okay? Doing good.
How you doing, kiddo?
Yes.
Your eyes open longer now?
Her eyes are clear. Open up your eyes. Look up here. And she's got a lot better strength up there, too. Yeah. It's just amazing how she's already, because she was a lot weaker just a few minutes ago. That the anti-venom went in. It's been about probably 15 or 20 minutes since the infusion went in. She's looking a lot better now.
Smile, Dan.
Can you smile? You only have the one line in it? Show me.
Show me the snake for him.
Luckily, she made it and she recovered. So, but those Mojave snakes are really, really, really deadly. And you only have a few hours, literally, to survive. Now, the next few videos I'm going to show you are of the snake itself. So let's check out this video here. Let me see if I can get to it. So this is, let me get some sound to hear. Is it on already? Okay, let's start this over. That's what it is. This is the Mojave Green. Nasty thing. They blend right in with the sand. So let's get into the actual venom and how they make it.
Billy Collette is collecting venom to help make life-saving medicine for snake bites.
These guys are literally one of the most toxic snakes on the planet.
Millions of people...
Get some sound to it. Because this is very interesting on how they make the venom, and this is why it's so costly.
Suffer venomous snake bites every year around the world.
If you get bitten by a rattlesnake, it's like having your hand smashed with a hammer.
The most common way of making antivenom is by first injecting snake venom into animals like horses and then drawing their blood. But producing it is expensive, and some parts of the world are facing a desperate shortage. As many as 137,000 people die from snake bites each year.
We call these neglected tropical diseases.
I would not want that job at all. That is crazy.
And it's really important that we find ways to solve it.
So why are animals still used to make antivenom? And what can we do to solve this hidden health crisis? This lab is one of the only places in Australia milking snakes.
My mum, in particular, thinks I'm a lunatic because I wanted to do this for a job.
Billy cares for 300 deadly snakes.
Coastal taipans, eastern browns, tiger snakes, common death adders, and king browns.
First, he prepares the milking cup.
So if you went to a nightclub or a pub and you asked for a shot, like Fireball, this is what they give it into. I know of a fella that was bitten by a large coastal taipan. Within about 15 minutes, he was showing symptoms. He was extremely nauseous, vomiting, sweating, and by the 20-minute mark, he was almost unconscious. He was bleeding out of his eyes, his gums, every orifice in his body. He was in a coma for 11 days, but he did survive that bite.
Just handling these guys constantly like this just blows my mind.
So this is a tiger snake. So these guys are literally one of the most toxic snakes on the planet. And you can see I'm using the snake hook here to keep the head away from my hand and the rest of my body. And when we're coming into the milking process, basically I drop the hook like that. I have the snake in my right hand. We've got a soft pinning pad there. So this is basically like a foam mattress. I got my pinning device, which is a clear Perspex disc. So what we do is we flick the snake onto the pinning pad like that, apply the pinner, and I can see exactly where its head is, and I can have my fingers right there, ready to go. And so that's the snake restrained. And the next part is where I actually milk the snake. So what he's going to do is he's going to think he's bitten me. There we go. Nice yield there. And that amount of venom, that's enough to kill over 50 adult men.
There are about 600 species of venomous snakes around the world. Concentrated in these hotspots, Australia is home to more than 100 of them.
Australia's got more venomous snakes than non-venomous snakes. We're the only country in the world with that.
Each snake's venom is made up of a unique cocktail of toxins that attack your body. A king cobra's venom often goes after the nervous system and can kill a human in 15 minutes. A viper's venom can stop blood from clotting and cause internal bleeding. And in rare cases, bites can stop your heart.
So once we milk the snakes, we then freeze it, just in a basic freezer. So the venoms are stored with the different species, and you'll notice taipan venom, once it's frozen, is actually pink. So all the different species have actually got different coloured
So you can kind of see why the venom, the anti-venom that they give the dogs or the adults or anybody get bitten by a snake is so very expensive. And this is just one of the processes. I'm going to show you another video that is another process of creating that anti-venom treatment.
Venom, and down here we've got the tiger snake, and you can see it's like a light yellowy sort of a colour. Eastern brown's clear. The king brown is a really rich, deep, dark yellow, like you can see here. A few months later, when we've got enough together, we'll actually freeze dry it. We turn this on, we set it to minus 56 degrees Celsius, and basically it freeze dries and draws all that moisture out within about 48 hours, and we're left with this crystallized product.
Freeze-dried venom is easier to transport and lasts longer. Billy says the venom from his lab has saved over 250,000 lives in Australia.
250,000 of people that have gotten bit. So the next video I'm going to show you is the other process of this. And it is, let's stop this for a second. See if we can get the...
Hello, today we are extracting from Mojave rattlesnakes, Crotalus scutellatus.
Video.
These first couple animals that you see are from Arizona, and then the next video clip will be animals from Texas. And because we know there's a lot of variation in this venom, which I'll talk about during the next clip, we do keep the locales separate just to make it a little bit easier if a researcher is potentially interested in looking at that. Mojave rattlesnakes get their scientific name from the scales on the top of their head. Mojaves have several large scutes or scales on the top of their head instead of having many small scales like most rattlesnakes do. This next one has a little bit of an interesting pattern. It's a little bit darker than they usually are. We think it's actually quite a pretty snake. Clearly trying to run away very hard right now, but he does come out here in just a second. Here we go. So bites from Mojave rattlesnakes can actually take two forms because different populations have different sorts of venom. So some of them have a high neurotoxin. They're generally called type A venom, and that's the ones that we have. And we do know that ours are the neurotoxic ones because A, they were collected from the correct areas for that venom, but also they've been tested, so we know that's what we have. And there are some that have a type B venom that is more like your traditional rattlesnake hemorrhagic cytotoxic venom. And these guys, but especially the neurotoxic variety, can really cause a significant bite. And Jim has actually been bitten by these and did have neurotoxic effects.
Crazy.
So in one bite, he actually had ptosis, which is the inability to open your eyes. That's caused by descending paralysis. Within about, I don't know, 20 minutes of the bite. Does that seem right, Jim? And then he also, in the car, was basically gasping for breath. So he was actually pushing on his abdomen himself to try to keep himself breathing. And that was occurring right as we were arriving to the hospital. And luckily, we have a very good relationship with the physicians in our area at the local emergency department, so they kind of know that if we show up and say we have a particular bite, that we know what we're talking about, luckily. And he was appropriately treated with anti-venom. And then several years later, he actually had a second bite from these guys.
Crazy.
And in that bite, he did not have the descending paralysis, but he did have some really horrible vomiting and muscle tremors. Again, also caused by the neurotoxin.
Look at that, just one after another.
Well, sometimes people will say that if a snake is neurotoxic, that means you will not have tissue damage from it, but that's not really true. There's never any guarantee that you won't get tissue damage. It might not be as likely or as much as a snake that is predominantly hemorrhagic, but it's certainly still.
So there was a lot of tissue damage done to my little girl. As in the videos, like in the pictures you can see, there's one photo that I have where the very next day, she just urinated blood the whole day. It was really scary. She had so much damage done to her internal organs. So it's just really, really scary for this to happen. And the most important thing is just to get to a hospital immediately, as fast as you can. So luckily she was treated and she was better, after the 6 hours. I mean, she was still in rough shape, but today she's perfect. She's back to normal and like it never happened. So I'm really grateful to that hospital. I would recommend them to everyone. So just be safe out there, everyone, if you're hiking in the desert at this time of year. And I'll see you in the next video.